The future is here.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future.
We're marching ahead, blazing new trails. This is the future. We're setting sail. We're building a path to things we never done. Tomorrow is here, it's rising with the sun. An evolution, revolutions come. It's only started, only just begun. This is the moment we've been waiting for. So open up the door.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the.
You know.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the.
You are.
Welcome to
A new dawn. A new day. A new plan. Yeah.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the. Welcome to the future. Future.
Better than ever. Born to be great. This is the moment that history's made. Nothing can stop us, ain't seen nothing yet. The lights are on and now the stage is set. Imagination, innovation's here. The pictures never ever look so clear. This is the day a new dawn is near. The future's here.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the.
You are.
Welcome to
A new dawn. A new day. A new world. Yeah.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the. Welcome to the future. Future.
The future is here.
Tomorrow is here, it's rising with the sun. An evolution, revolutions come. It's only started.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the.
You know.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the.
You are.
Welcome to
A new dawn. A new day. A new world. Yeah.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the. Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
The future. Welcome to the future.
Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up? Hey guys,
How's it going?
we back. Welcome
Quite
everyone.
the intro.
We
That
have
was
another
pretty awesome.
AMA.
Welcome.
Welcome to the future, man. You know what it is. We have another AMA today, and we have the one and only Gravy, head of marketing for Aavegotchi, who's here with us tonight. And good day to everyone, everyone else around the world. My name is Sedano, media and community marketing for YGG, and my partner, the one and only Mr. Shire Toby. How you doing, man?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Thanks for joining us today, Zero X Gravy. Are there any other names that we can know you by, or is Zero X Gravy the kind of primary?
Really, it's
form?
just gravy.
Gravy?
Kind of
That's all gravy. I'm sorry, Toby.
But yeah, I mean, I've embraced it. It's what we had a couple. My first name's Nick. We have a couple Nicks on the team, so I actually grew up playing hockey, and it's natural to put a Y at the end of a last name for sports people. So naturally, I just went from graves to gravy. I've embraced it. It's not necessarily like the golden gravy boat where you're pouring gravy on turkey, but it is if you want it to be. So
I love gravy. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Awesome.
Yeah,
So I
man.
suppose we've been lucky enough that obviously many in the community probably already know Aavegotchi. I think we can all say we're big fans. But for those in the audience that might not necessarily already have a good understanding, we'd love to have the elevator pitch for Aavegotchi.
Yep.
Sure. So Aavegotchi, it's an open source community-owned NFT gaming protocol. It's truly enabling true asset ownership for gamers. The Aavegotchi NFTs themselves are 100% on-chain collectible ghosts staked with Aave's interest-generating A tokens. Using these Aavegotchi NFTs, you can compete for player rewards, earning experience points, leveling up your Aavegotchis, and ultimately increasing the rarity level of your Aavegotchis. So Aavegotchi is actually governed by the Aavegotchi DAO, which is quite frankly the world's most active DAO currently, and the native eco governance token is Ghost, GHST. So we just actually released our flagship game, the GOTCHIVERSE, which celebrates the best of all blockchain technology. It's a metaverse built on Aavegotchi protocol, and it's co-created with direct input from the Aavegotchi DAO. So we're literally a DAO-built game. So in the GOTCHIVERSE, players use their Aavegotchis as avatars to explore, build, battle, earn, socialize, all the stuff that you would like to do in not only a metaverse, but in a game. And in the GOTCHIVERSE, players own all their assets, including the Aavegotchis, the land parcels, installation NFTs, and everything that's built inside the Aavegotchi GOTCHIVERSE. So
That's really cool. I mean, it has to be, I think one of the earlier projects, or I think still probably one of the only projects where like the NFTs themselves function as containers for like actual kind of like monetary value, which is a really interesting concept.
Yeah, so that's one of the ways to utilize Aavegotchis. Maybe you're not a gamer, but you'd like to take care of a digital pet. Let's all face it. I mean, it's got gotchi in the name, so it's a little bit derived from like the 90s version of Tamagotchi. But yes, you can use these as, let's say, a digital piggy bank, as well as taking care of these digital pets. So it's much more than just a digital pet. It's much more than just a piggy bank, but you truly have a digital friend that you can take care of when you pet it 2 times a day. Every 12 hours, every time you pet it, it earns a kinship. In turn, it increases its rarity, because the higher you have for kinship, it differentiates it from another person's Aavegotchi. You could also use it for like mini games to earn experience points. Voting in our DAO, you can earn experience points. And so all of these different combinations of interacting with your Aavegotchi NFT actually increases its rarity. But yes, you can stake Aave interest generating A tokens inside of them. So you actually have to stake a certain amount in order to bring it to life, which is what we call summoning. But then you can, if let's say you have a Bitcoin gotchi, you can, start putting your Bitcoin inside the Aavegotchi and earning those yields.
Nice. I mean, it's pretty unique, I don't think that I've heard of any project that is as similar to what you guys are trying to do. I mean, having a Web3 Tamagotchi in itself is already pretty new. It's pretty fresh. Though, I mean, what actually triggers my curiosity is, what made you guys actually decide that this is the project that, you want to build, and why?
Sure. So we've been working with NFTs for quite some time. Our co-founders, Golden Cross and coder Dan, actually built a company called Bullion X, which featured the first ERC 721 NFTs that could hold ERC 20 tokens balanced inside them, gold stable coins essentially. And from that experiences and many more after that, they came to the conclusion that, if done well, playable NFTs had a huge potential to offer new type of on-chain experiences.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's one thing to have, PFP NFTs, but there's also, that aspect of true ownership and value when you have, other tokens actually that are embedded in these NFTs. And I think that's actually a necessity. Because, I mean, aside from, having these in your wallets, there is also that factor that gives more value to it if you can actually, swap this out, and you can actually say that these have current value that's not derived from community and demand. It's embedded in these guys. But I think that's a really cool feature. I think this is also the same feature that you would say separates you from any other games or any other potential competitors that you guys have in the space. I'm pretty curious. So, how does the team in Aavegotchi look like? Like, how many of you guys are there? How does the dynamic work? Are you fully decentralized? Are you remote? How? Yeah, definitely something
Yeah.
that the community would want
Yeah,
to know.
so we currently have 40 team members and growing.
Wow.
And so we are fully remote. We are worldwide, literally all parts of the globe. So we are fully decentralized with the Aavegotchi DAO. And we've been around for it's going to be 2 years here shortly. So we're definitely OG in the space when it comes to lifespan of a project. And we're building something that I like to say we're building something that's so good that it's going to be impossible to ignore. But basically, we're growing. We have the need for more hands on deck, obviously, as we keep implementing things in the GOTCHIVERSE and on the Aavegotchi protocol. From my experience, I actually came from about a decade's worth of traditional marketing, and including electronics manufacturing. And I had a passion for crypto, as you would expect. And I began building miners, ETH mining rigs, all sorts of different mining rigs. I had a passion for that. And I decided that I wanted to dive headfirst into, 100% crypto. That was my life outside of crypto, so I might as well make it my life inside of crypto. So that's where I found the amazing opportunity to work here at Pixelcraft Studios, which is, the dev house behind the Aavegotchi protocol and our flagship game, the GOTCHIVERSE.
Nice. Sounds good. We actually have a bunch of scholars from YGG who are into Aavegotchi, so who are actually right now watching. So shout out to Fiston, shout out to Boring, shout out to Mungdags. I've been asking them. So how's it been for them actually being able to experience the first few iterations of the GOTCHIVERSE. But then I think we have some tech questions that Saratobi will be asking
Sure.
later on. But before we get to that, personally, for me, what would be? Let's say we are still in the 90s, we still have the Tamagotchis. What would be, the features of these Tamagotchis that you would want to have as close to what you have in Aavegotchi? Like, what are you missing that the Tamagotchis have, basically?
Well, I'd say we're missing the physical product where you can have it on your keychain. Let's put it that way. But
Nice. And isn't that something that you guys have in the pipeline?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
honestly, that's something I've been tinkering around in the background here. I have my soldering station and all that stuff. I've been messing around with the opportunities to make something IRL, but that's something that obviously takes a little bit more because we have to have. It really depends on how much money you want to throw into these things because we need high-speed internet. We need all this good stuff to make sure all the transactions go through properly. I would say we're not missing anything that Tamagotchi has other than the physical, being able to take your Aavegotchi around. That's not on your, you can on your cell phone, but it would be a next level step up to, have it in that cool casing that's Aavegotchi specific. And to be able to share, whether it's on a necklace or whether it's on, like that OG Tamagotchi egg.
Nice.
But everything, all the other aspects are there. You're taking care of a digital pet, a digital friend. Some people are using these Aavegotchis to teach their child how to raise an animal. Instead of having a dog or a cat in the house, you can raise one of these. If your Aavegotchi kinship goes to 0, it essentially becomes much less valuable than any other Aavegotchis that, let's say, are at 900 kinship. So, there's an aspect of taking care of it. The value, the rarity, all of that stuff is in direct proportion to taking care of it. So it is giving, people responsibility lessons, as well as it's really teaching people how to actually use DeFi. DeFi is sometimes boring. I love it. Don't get me wrong, but it's much different than just, collecting yields and setting and forgetting stuff for a percentage. So it's more interactive. It brings more life to DeFi, and it's definitely a lot more fun.
And to add to that, you don't have to clean physical poop. Everything's digital.
Yeah, it's literally digital. So,
so how about you, Sarah? So do you have pets yourself at home?
No, all of my. Actually, I don't know why I said no. Actually, I've got 3 cats. But they're not. I don't really look after them that much. I leave that to my kids, and my wife and kids kind of look after.
Oh, yeah.
Cats kind of aren't that hard to look after.
Right. Yeah.
They
They,
kinda
they
just
generally
look
take
after
care of
themselves.
themselves. Yeah.
Apart from like feeding them every so often,
Right.
so it's fairly easy on that side.
But you
Yeah.
can't stick, generating interest generating tokens into your cats. So,
Well,
and they
how
don't
do-
get more
well-
rare; they just get older. So,
I on the basis of this conversation now, I am going to like experiment with inserting revenue generating tokens into cats.
Into your cats.
seriously,
Real
hey,
cats.
put your cats to work.
Yeah, yeah. Just get Trezor and just like lock it away forever.
Yep,
No
there you go.
access at all. Anyway, that's after that kind of graphic image. Yeah. So obviously, I think you guys were definitely like kind of fairly pivotal on Matic and Polygon, or Matic Polygon, obviously. Still one of the kind of flagship products there, I think. Would you guys like speak a bit on that experience? Do you have any kind of are you completely satisfied? Are there any things that you'd kind of like to see change or improve that haven't happened, or kind of how do you see that playing out in the future? Can we imagine a multi-chain Aavegotchi, or what's going to kind of happen there?
Yeah, so actually that brings up a good point. So we were originally going to launch on Ethereum. Ethereum gas fees were around $12 at the time. And at that time, we're like, wow, that's expensive. Like, we don't want to be paying $12 in gas fees on Ethereum when you're looking at, petting it at least 2 transactions a day if you're petting it twice. So we actually made the decision to launch on Polygon. And it's been fantastic. We have a great relationship with the Polygon team. I couldn't be more satisfied. The team couldn't be more satisfied with with the gas fees we've seen as of the past year. It was an incredible move. So when you look at a $12 gas fee, making the decision to we're going to revert, we're going to go on the Polygon blockchain. I would say we're very, very happy with the decision we made, and it's obvious. So.
Awesome. And speaking on the kind of multi-chain Aavegotchi, is that something that we can imagine for the future, or ETH2 or those kind of things? What's your kind of thoughts on that, those kind of components?
The future is whatever you want to make it be, right? So we're constantly evolving, we're constantly adding, we're constantly making things better. It's not out of the picture, of course, if it makes sense, yes. But the Aavegotchi protocol itself is something that we would like to, become a household name, where it's not just us building on it, it's other different projects building on the Aavegotchi protocol. So Aavegotchi itself and the friendly characters are one thing, but the Aavegotchi protocol is what we intend to have other projects come in and build on itself.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So Sedano, do you have a follow-up question till there?
Yeah, I mean, so for the community, I mentioned earlier that we already do have, a couple of scholars who are into Aavegotchi, and we've been getting pretty good feedback, and we are actually currently growing our player base for Aavegotchi. And I think one of the most important factors that we have to look at here, that in YGG, it's not just we don't just throw games to our community and hey, we have a new game, we have a new partnership, play it. We try to gauge the community interest, and then based on how much these community members or the scholars want to play it, that's where we focus our resources, add more scholarships, and just basically develop the whole program. And it's really good to see that. I mean, reminiscing Tamagotchi and having a Web3 version of that is something that we can leverage, and we can continue to grow in YGG. I mean, we do have other games that are coming up that we love. There are a lot. I mean, especially Saratobi can share the same sentiments. But it is rare that we do have growing interest on upcoming Web3 games, especially if they are the first of its kind in the industry. But with that said, shout out to all our community members. If you guys want to get your Aavegotchi scholarships, make sure that you have your roles in the YGG Discord. So that's discord.gg/YGG, and make sure to claim your roles. If you don't know how to do that, we have our moderators, we have our community helpers 24/7 who will assist you to make sure that you get on the line and you get on that list for you guys to try out Aavegotchi? I mean, it's still pretty early. You know, we just kickstarted this whole program. Shout out to Fallen Corpses, who's been very active with the scholarships and game ops. But then, yeah, I mean, going back to the AMA, I mean, Gravy, like you yourself, I mean, do you play Aavegotchi? I mean, I've seen that you have your own gotchi in your profile picture. You know, how does it look like for you guys on the core team? I mean, at what level of interaction do you guys have with the game? Is everyone in it? You know, do you guys have your own scholars? I mean, how involved are you with the game in itself, aside from the business side of things?
So for the game itself, yeah, I have my own Aavegotchi. You see it in my PFP. I play when I can. There's only so many hours in a day, and my first, priority is to market this project and make sure the world knows about it. But I am very, I'm on board with the DAO itself, and so I participate. We were fully decentralized, autonomous organization, and I want to be just a part of the decision making as the DAO as the community members are. That's what's one of the most beautiful things about this itself is we are a true DAO. We are not centralized. We don't have centralized entities making decisions for us. So in that instance, if there is a very important decision to be made, it's not just our team making those decisions. It's our entire community making those decisions. And they go to, SIG props, core props. And once they pass, they go into implementation. We literally have built this game with our community support from the very start. And it will always be like that. So it's an incredible community to be involved with. And so to answer your question, I'm involved in the DAO itself, helping make decisions.
Nice.
I play in the GOTCHIVERSE itself. I have my own gotchis that I can run around, grab Alchemica, upgrade my altars, everything, all that. Obviously for one instance, I'm helping the game developers figure out where all the bugs are, what's working, what's not working, what needs to be fixed, what might need to be changed. But I have an Aavegotchi that I'm trying to take care of just like everybody else is. So yeah, we're very involved, not only in the DAO aspect itself, but just overall, it's a beautiful community to be a part of.
It's great. I mean, it's good to hear. Yeah, sorry, Toby, you were saying?
Yeah, sorry. No, my apologies. No, that's really awesome to hear. And in terms of like, how large is the community at this stage? How many players would you have playing?
So we currently have roughly about 18,000 gotchis that have been summoned out of 25,000. There is an instance where people value a closed portal versus summoning an Aavegotchi. So there is X amount of closed portals. I don't necessarily know what that number is off the top of my head, but our Discord is very active with about 30,000 members. Obviously, we're just pushing 100,000 on Twitter. We have a very active DAO, and we actually were just named the most active DAO in terms of votes not too long ago. And so it's pretty incredible, like on Snapshot and whatnot. But very heavily involved community. It's not just, having DAO on our name to have, that buzzword. But our community is constantly growing. But like I said, we have about 18,000 active gotchis that have been summoned. To circle back to the beginning where some people value a closed portal. Let's say like a closed pack of Pokemon cards could have that first edition Charizard inside of it, or it might not. It really depends on how you value that. You might want to, our roadmap has a 30-year outlook. So in 30 years from now, what is a closed portal going to look like in terms of rarity and what people are going to be willing to pay for that? So there will always be a certain percentage of portals that will never be opened. But the last I looked last night, I believe we were just about 3,000 active users in the GOTCHIVERSE. So it's pretty awesome. And we're making it even more accessible to players by, if you've taken a look at our Gotchi lending program. We don't currently have a free-to-play aspect. This is as close to free-to-play as we possibly can make at the moment, which we do have free-to-play in the future. But we have Gotchi Lending, which is our basically it's our take on the Axie Infinity Scholarship Program, but we made it better. We completely eliminated the middleman. So we're making smart contracts that are 100% trustless. It is literally terms between you, another party, and possibly a third party. For instance, if a guild, if you're sponsored or a part of a guild, you can split percentages between one or two parties. So basically, we are bringing the very close to free play aspect with Gotchi lending, where it's as simple as creating a smart contract between a couple parties, deciding what percentage you want to split on the Alchemica in the future Ghosts, and what other assets you can pick up in the Gotchiverse. The time, if you want to do a 1 hour contract, a 6 hour, 24 hour, 1 month contract. And then all of that stuff is actually is set on a smart contract. So you don't need like an HR department. You don't need to necessarily interview a scholar to see if they're going to run away with your asset. You don't have to check in when that contract ends according to your terms. That automatically you receive your NFT assets back, and whatever your percentage split was, and all of that stuff goes automatically to your wallet. So it really eliminates a lot of headaches, a lot of human interaction needs, like I said, an HR department to make sure everything is going well, make sure that people get paid and all that stuff. So we're making it as simple as we possibly can to get people into the Gotchiverse with little to no ghosts. Some contracts are free, but I believe like the lowest one is 0.1 ghost now, and then you'll need a little bit of Matic, obviously, for gas fees to be able to run around in the Gotchiverse. And we've had scholars that this is changing some scholars' lives, and it's only just the beginning. So it's pretty incredible what we're able to do here with the basically free to play aspect, with that in the form of liquidators in the future, which is the Aavegotchi Nemesis.
Yeah, I'm excited. So when can we expect that component to launch, the kind of truly free to play component?
Right. So the truly free, we do have that aimed by the end of this year. And so that is obviously going to increase the amount of traffic that we're going to have, and the amount of playability for users. But that is, slated for the end of this year, as we continue to build out the Gotchiverse and in our roadmap. So super excited for that. That is, like I mentioned, it's a new character being introduced to the Gotchiverse known as the Liquidator. And so that's the nemesis of the Aavegotchi, where you'll eventually be battling against Aavegotchis to go after, the Alchemica, the Gotchis Alchemica, the elements of the Gotchiverse, which are ERC20 tokens, to be able to go after them, battle them, pick up the Alchemica that they drop by winning a battle against them. And then the Aavegotchis themselves will be protecting the Citadel and themselves fighting the liquidators to earn their loot. So it's going to be a pretty fun concept in the future.
And obviously, it's one of those, scary things. As soon as you kind of have the free to play to earn component, how do you kind of see that? What kind of inflows do you see kind of making that sustainable? What's the kind of game plan around, you're going to have this large injection of users? How can that kind of end up functioning as like a sustainable economy?
Yeah. So basically we've had, several stress tests. We've had the past, we've been live with the Gotchiverse for about 2 months now. And so we've been really, testing our infrastructure, being able to determine, what kind of numbers that we could bring in to the Gotchiverse. And clearly that's, the Liquidator itself is going to be something that, you have to earn basically without money. You don't have, you can buy it with Ghost if you'd like to, but you'll earn those credits in one way or another by referrals, by some sorts of tasks that you might make or complete in order to get these free access tokens. And so that's also going to bring in more players, spread the word, all that good stuff. But basically, by that time, we will have, the core Aavegotchi community members engaged, building out all of their land parcels in the Citadel, all that stuff. And when we are ready to battle the Liquidators, I think we are going to be well structured and have the ability to take on a massive inflow, and where we expect, obviously, the free to play aspect to bring in large numbers.
Awesome. No, that makes sense. No, it's definitely exciting. I think, the eyeballs as well arguably adds kind of value to the whole network, I suppose. So
yeah,
that for sure is like I suppose you want to put, because of the limited number of gotchis though, like how do you kind of see kind of growth moving forward?
Yeah, so that's a beautiful thing about our DAO. So our DAO will actually, when we have determined as a community that we need more Aavegotchis to sustain, to scale the game and Aavegotchi itself, we will actually put that up to a vote, and the community will vote if we're ready for an H3. We've had an H1 Haunt 1 auction, which were the original Aavegotchis that were sold, and then we've had a Haunt 2 auction, which are the new the second generation. So eventually we will have a vote on a Haunt 3 to introduce 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 more Aavegotchis according to what is needed to scale properly, and to have the correct amount of users needed, not to have too many, but the correct. So we have some really big brain community members, and actually it's you might think to yourself, well, of course they're going to vote for one because then they get more NFT assets at their disposal, or the opportunity to purchase more. But we actually had our second Haunt 2 vote delayed as a vote from the DAO because they knew that we weren't quite ready for it. So we have some very, very dedicated community members that are making decisions that are proper for the overall community and not just for one or two people.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, obviously, it's one of those things where I suppose having the kind of non-gotchi orientated kind of ways of interacting with the game really helps. Obviously, you've got the liquidator. Is the liquidator going to be the only free-to-play character, or do you kind of envisage a world in which?
Yeah, at this point, that's the goal, is for the liquidator to be the arch nemesis, the villain of the Gotchiverse.
And obviously, one could expect realistically that there's probably going to be a lot more liquidators and gotchis.
Yeah, you would assume so, because there is an unlimited number of liquidators versus a capped number of Aavegotchis, even if we do have a Haunt 3. So yes, there's going to be more liquidators, which will provide its own unique gameplay experience. If you're out and about in the Gotchiverse and come across a gang of liquidators, it becomes more fun for a PvP aspect of gaming and whatnot. You really have to be careful when you're going out into the Gotchiverse, which will be released in phases as well. So a lot of really fun things to come. So
sure. Sedano, do you have a question there? Any question there? Is he kind of frozen?
Looks like
I'll move on to another question there, of course.
Sure.
Obviously, I know that obviously there's quite a number of YGG players already playing. I'm sure that a lot more players will jump on as soon as the ability to play as a liquidator comes into place. I suppose what's interesting, though, from a guild perspective, does this mean that those playing as liquidators will kind of be reducing the earning potential of those on the same guild who are playing as gotchis? Is that right?
Theoretically, they would be taking away from a gotchi's earning. But that's what's important about building a guild and building really good fundamentals and having a strong community within a community. To have those players, some guilds have purchased X amount of Aavegotchis to be able to lend out to their guild members for free. Some guilds have completely footed the bill on owning the assets to make it a free-to-play aspect for their guild members. As long as you're a guild member of their guild, you can theoretically play for free, depending on which scenarios that these guilds set them up for. So there are free, or like I said, nearly free aspects to play. Like 0.1 Ghost at the moment is about 15 cents, where you can spend 8-10 hours in the Gotchiverse making $20-30 US dollars. So it really depends on how those guilds are set up. Like I said, there's plenty of guilds that will be offering their assets for free with a percentage split of Gotchis Alchemica. So for a return on their initial investment of purchasing an Aavegotchi, maybe you'll give them 50% of all the Gotchis Alchemica that you pick up in the Gotchiverse. So there will be ways to get in for free, even before the liquidators come out, and a lot of ways to enter the Gotchiverse before that.
Awesome. That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys could hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Awesome. Yeah, so there's going to be, moving forward, there's going to be definitely a lot of interest from the community with Aavegotchi. Just, one, it's a YGG partner project, and also two, we see it happening already. So we do have scholars. It's one of the few games that YGG has scholars for in the earliest part of their release, right? So we could expect it to grow in the next couple of months, next couple of years. But how does Aavegotchi exactly like look like? Let's say in 3 and 5 years from now.
Yeah, so 3 and 5 years. Obviously, we have different phases coming out. But 3 and 5 years from now, we're looking strong. Like I mentioned earlier, we have a 30-year roadmap, so we have this well developed down the road. Well, the concept well developed down the road. And so, in these play to earn gaming spaces, it takes you constantly hear people on Twitter say, it takes 2 to 3 years to even build something, and we're already 2 years in. So like, and I'll say it again, we're trying to build something that's, so great that you can't ignore it. We're not willing to push a premature product to market just to have a product out there. So we're building and building right and making sure that all of the things, all the check boxes are checked before we release. But at the same time, 2-3 years down the road, I fully expect this to be, I don't want to sound biased because of where I work. But we're here to, take what the Axie craze looked like and duplicate that and then some. So I imagine that 2-3 years down the road, not only will other blockchain projects be implementing like our Gotchi lending concept, but I imagine, like the neighbor down the street having an Aavegotchi as their piggy bank. And so obviously that all depends on, how big or how large we scale, how many haunts we vote on, and how long it takes to get that necessary vote for haunt 3, haunt 4, haunt 5. But truly, it's a DAO built game, so like we will have votes on things come up when we least expect it and when we most expect it. So I fully expect to, obviously people love 8-bit gaming, the traditional Tamagotchi, the traditional Super Mario Brothers. This isn't something that's going to fade away. It's still here. And so I fully imagine this becoming, I talk to people on a daily basis where it's like all of a sudden their grandpa bought an Aavegotchi because it reminded them of, playing Super Mario Brothers back in the 90s or whatever it may be. So I think that we are still a little bit under the radar. But it's only a matter of time before the overall concepts that we've been building to really shed, the light on what we're doing. And, being the most active DAO in the world, being a top 5 Polygon blockchain game, we have a very bright future. I'm very excited to be a part of the team.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, in terms of of you guys, let's say expanding and growing your community. I mean, are there any opportunities for the people watching at home, if they wanted to be more active in Aavegotchi, if they wanted to join the community, if they wanted to join the team? Are you guys hiring? So yeah, what opportunities do you guys have for everyone else outside the Aavegotchi community?
Yeah, so naturally, I would always suggest to like join our Discord, follow our Twitter for the most recent updates on the ecosystem and what we're doing. But realistically speaking, we're always building and we're always innovating. So we will eventually need to hire out some more help and whatnot to get the projects done. But that's the right time and the right place for those scenarios. But we do offer ambassador programs if you want to be more involved, where we do reward ambassadors with in-game XP points and whatnot, stuff like that. We have a very, very dedicated group of individuals that are currently YouTubing, blogging, spreading the Gotchi gospel is what we call it on Twitter, all over the place. And we really do have, I guess, an HR process along the lines of those. It's not just anybody can be involved with the Aavegotchi ambassador program. We want to make sure that we have the best ambassadors. So if you are interested in being more involved with Aavegotchi outside of just being a part of the the Discord, following on Twitter, checking out our YouTube, all that good stuff, definitely hit me up and we could see what we can do for an ambassador role.
Awesome.
An interesting follow-up that I have there is like, from the point of view of like interoperability with other games and projects, where do you see that kind of going with Aavegotchi and the GOTCHIVERSE?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So since we are 100% on chain, we do fully imagine, taking your Aavegotchi avatar over to other games. We've already did it. We've already done it a couple of times with World Wide Web. We are currently working with Genso Kishi Genso Meta. If you're familiar with them, they're actually building a world inside of their metaverse for Aavegotchi. So since we are 100% on chain, there, as long as the other projects are capable of handling our Aavegotchis and our NFTs, obviously we will be interoperable, and we will also be allowing other characters from other metaverses, other projects, other worlds come into the Gotchiverse as well. And ultimately, you know, when we have SDKs and all that good stuff, you know, it's a blank canvas for our community to be able to build and create the Gotchiverse the way that everybody individually even imagines. So owning land parcels in the Gotchiverse basically gives you a blank slate to build inside there. And so I imagine there being a lot of first times in the Gotchiverse, for lack of better analogy. So.
That's really exciting stuff. Always love to hear about interoperability being designed in space, for sure. So glad to hear that you guys have that in mind. How, like, and for our kind of existing game partners out there, how interested are you in kind of having like Aavegotchis maybe function as some sort of like, because like let's imagine that, like, you know, there's some super exciting games on Polygon, many of them, you know, coming out in the future. Would you like it to be so that like people could rep their Aavegotchi in other games? Is that something?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, our community has already embraced their Aavegotchi as their personality to some extent. So, I mean, that's ultimately what an avatar is, right? Is, you know, depending on if you have 5 different projects and you know, shuffle through your 5 different avatars, be your personality for the day, just as if you were to open up your closet and change 5 different outfits. I think that's exactly. I would love to be able to, and we have obviously want to be able to take our NFT avatars over to another world. I mean, not only is it great advertising for Aavegotchi, but it really truly allows you to become the personality of your avatar, whether that be an Aavegotchi ghost or a Bored Ape. So that's obviously something that's very important to us, is the interoperability. And that, again, is why we are 100% on chain. We rely on no third party to exist. So as long as the Polygon blockchain exists, we exist.
Awesome. Exciting stuff. So yeah, so Sedano, I think you're on mute there, sir.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just gonna say, for everyone at home, first of all, you know, thank you for dropping by with our AMA. But you know, if you guys have any more questions, make sure to drop them in our AMA discussion channel, or if you're on Twitch, or if you're in Twitter, if you're on Facebook, don't be shy. We have a few more minutes together with the Gravy right here. But then, you know, I mean, from my end, you know, I'd like to thank you, man, for, you know, sharing your time with us. And we definitely would want to get you on another AMA, especially that when you guys have your more updates, or, you know, or we can even get into the game, you know, show some gameplay and, you know, get the community hyped, maybe even get some scholars who are already playing the game as guests and talk about, you know, how they like it, maybe another perspective from our traditional AMA.
Yeah, that would be
and
great.
That's something definitely that we can look forward to, right?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. Would love to have some more people with boots on the ground in the Gotchiverse, seeing what's you know, what they like and even what they don't like. I'm always looking for, you know, we're always looking for the constructive criticism to make this better, which is why we have, you know, a truly DAO built game. So would love to hear some more of the YGG community and be more involved, and maybe do a panel of some sort with some community members. Would be great.
Yeah, so everyone, again, make quick shout outs to everyone who dropped by tonight. We have Steffi, of course, we have Bell, Boring, Fiston, Genkina, Haipon, Kian, Lebu, Mungdags, and Senpu. So yeah, I'm assuming like these guys are already in the program, already have their scholarships ongoing. But yeah, for your friends and everyone else who's tuned in, make sure, I'm going to be repeating myself, make sure to claim your Aavegotchi roles. and then drop a message in the Aavegotchi text channel on YGG to get you guys started. So we are looking for scholars. We are looking for guys who are talented, who have experience with other NFT projects and NFT games that would want to share their experience and their talents with the whole YGG community. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. And yeah, we will be expecting you guys. But yeah, I mean, before we go, Saratobi, do you have anything else for Gravy?
No, other than that, obviously, any kind of like super close upcoming events that the people in the audience should be aware of, or any
Yeah,
alpha that you can
actually.
drop?
So tomorrow, actually, we start our first ever GOTCHIVERSE decorations raffle. So Thursday through Sunday, we'll be raffling off common, uncommon, rare, legendary, mythical, and godlike decorations that you can place on your land parcels in the GOTCHIVERSE that will help differentiate and increase the rarity of your land. So that's in the form of a raffle, which you can earn tickets through staking ghosts for friends. So you convert the friends points into tickets, and then you enter those tickets into the raffle, and it actually uses Chainlink VRF to randomly pick winners out of all of the different rarity levels of tickets. And so on top of that, we are also going to be having our third land auction in the near future. Those dates are still to be determined, but we use a GBM style bid to earn auction, which is another phenomenal concept that takes another 20 minutes to explain. But long story short, TLDR, you can literally earn an ROI by simply being outbid. So we have, I think, a revolutionary way of distributing NFTs in the form of GBM bid to earn auctions, and that's another thing that we will be displaying in the near future too. So other than that, if anybody's going to NFT NYC, definitely hit me up. We'll be there, and we're having a rooftop party as well. So we'll have GBM, Chainlink, Polygon, and us up there celebrating NFTs and having a good time. Gotcha Gang VIP access. Let me know if you want to join, and we'll see some of your faces in NFT NYC possibly.
Awesome. That sounds great. Well, look, thanks so much, Gravy, for joining us today. Thanks, everyone, for listening. As always, make sure to always throw us a like on YouTube or Twitch or any of the platforms that you're on, and make sure to share it with all your friends and family. And yeah, thanks to Dano, as always, for another fantastic AMA. And look, yep, and until next time, guys.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Take care.
Awesome. Cheers.